Hey guys, welcome to this video. If you're looking into getting into film as an activity or something you might like to do, if you're at all interested in it, then this is made especially for you. So, my name's Chase. I have this channel here. It doesn't get that many views, but I love to help people out as a community of people that just like to see people grow as photographers and whatnot. If you haven't shot film before, I'm starting a little series of how to shoot 35mm and what everything means, so I can answer all your questions for you or do anything that you need to do. And if you have any questions, you're welcome to DM me at Chase_long_last_name. I can give you a short answer there, or if it's something that needs a video, I could just make a video on whatever your question is and sort it out for you and post this especially for you. So for today's video, I'm just going to answer some questions for people that might be on the fence about whether or not they should get into it, and try to persuade you to actually join into this great thing that is film photography. So the main thing about it is I actually didn't know I was going to get into it. It just kind of happened. I got a little bit interested, I took a dive, and I absolutely fell in love with it. But what it was for me is the cameras looked cool. I did a little bit of research, found out it wasn't that expensive. I was already into old-fashioned things, and I loved the way the photos turned out. So one Christmas a few years back, I asked for a Canon A1, and I didn't end up getting it, but the next day I was like, screw it, I really want to get into this film photography. So I went out and bought a camera from the local film store, local camera store. It was a Canon A1, the one I wanted. And the next day my friends and I took a trip out to the desert, and I just took my first roll of film, one in color, I think it was Kodak Portrait 160, and then a one in black and white. It was Fujineo Pan-Acros 100, and I'll show some photos of that trip right here so you can see what my first roll of film looked like. And for me, I didn't really know what I was getting into, but as soon as I shot my first photo and got the first roll back, I absolutely fell in love with that. I knew I had to keep doing it, and I really think it could be the same way for you. So I'm going to answer some questions that I had when I first started out that you might have if you're not just now starting out. And the first question I get the most is, what type of camera should I buy if I'm going to get into it? One thing to know with film is there's a lot of different types, so there's a lot of different types of cameras you can get. We're going over 35mm right now, which just means that it's a type of camera that shoots a certain type of negatives that shoots the film that kind of looks like this. You might have seen them around, maybe you remember them from your childhood or being in disposable cameras. And 35mm is one of the most common types of film being shot. There's videos about it all over YouTube, and if you ever need to find out anything, you can just look it up. There's a whole community of people that are just trying to help. So 35mm cameras. If you're looking to get one, my recommendations for a beginner one are the Canon A1. I might be a little bit biased, but this is the bread and butter of beginner film photography. So if film is something you're looking to get into, this could be a great camera for you. It has everything you would need to learn. It has a shutter speed that goes up to 1/1000th of a second, which you'll learn about later on. Any tool you might need would be found on most cameras. It's going to be found on the Canon A1, and it's a great learner camera, along with the Pentax K1000. Those run you about $60 to $120 for each camera. They're both within that price range usually. I got mine for $100, and that might seem expensive, especially during COVID times. But what you have to remember is it's a one-time purchase. So I bought my Canon quite a few years back now, and obviously I haven't had to buy another Canon or anything like that. It's just been in my arsenal of cameras ever since, and I use it all the time. Another question I get is film stuff still around, right? Because it kind of went out of style in the late 90s, maybe the early 2000s, with the introduction of the digital age and digital cameras. And I'm here to put your worries to rest. There's still a lot of it around. There's a ton of labs that develop your film. There's a ton of cameras that sell film cameras. Film's still being made. Some film has even been brought back from the dead. And it's just a fantastic community, and it's still growing, surprisingly. Like, film is not dead in the slightest, so not something you have to worry about there. There's always going to be film around for you to play with and learn about, and instructionals and people like me who make YouTube videos for you. Another question I get is from people who take photos digitally. So they use digital cameras like the Canon 20D or 10D or something like that. I don't really know the names of digital cameras, but they use digital cameras like that, and they say they don't want to get into film because they don't want to wait to see their pictures. But honestly, I think that's a plus of film, because if you're shooting film, you're not sucked into something that just takes your focus away from whatever you're doing in the moment. So with film, 35mm specifically, you load up one of these rolls, you get 36 exposures, you're doing something fun like camping with your friends, you spend the day taking photos, but when night comes around, you're not going to be looking through the back of your camera thinking about, oh, do I like these photos? Do I need to take better ones? You're not going to know because you're going to have to develop it after the trip. And I think that's the beauty of it a little bit, is that you can take pictures and still be in the moment without taking 1,000 photos on your iPhone and then just sitting there editing them while you're supposed to be having fun with your friends. So that might sound a little targeted, but I do think it is a plus, especially in today's modern age where everything's based around instant gratification. It teaches you a little bit of patience and helps you appreciate whatever you're doing or whatever you're experiencing. Now, the most frequent question probably ever asked to me, or I guess it's not a question, but people often tell me that they think film is going to be too complicated for them to learn. But I'm here to tell you right now, it is not a complicated thing at all. It might seem a little bit overwhelming at first if you've never done anything photography-wise with ISO, aperture, f-stop, shutter speed, camera types, film developing, C41, all the other stuff, you know. It could seem a little bit overwhelming having to know all that stuff. But in reality, it's super simple, because when you're shooting film, basically all you have to do is match up two little numbers, which I'll teach you how to do in future videos. And that's it. You just get a correctly exposed picture. It's not complicated at all. It's actually super simple, really easy to learn. I thought it was going to be complicated too. I was able to learn within maybe the first 5 pictures that I took. I watched like 2 videos. I was like, all right. And then I went took some photos and I was like, okay, it's great. So yeah, you don't have to worry about it being too complicated for you, especially if I'm here to help you learn. But this is just an introduction video into the series of videos I will make that will help you learn 35mm film if that is something you are interested in. So in future videos, I will be going over basic stuff such like how to correctly expose your photos, what does aperture do, what does shutter speed mean. I'll try to explain all of that as best as I can to you guys. And again, if you have any questions, you could just go ahead and DM me at my Instagram at Chase_long_last_name, and I will answer those for you to the best of my abilities. So for now, enjoy some photos you can take on 35mm film, and I'll see you guys in the next video. They will be posted on Mondays at 2 p.m. and I'll have other videos of me just shooting film and messing around and having a good time on Fridays at 2 p.m., both California time. So I hope you're having a great day. Thanks for watching this. If you have any questions, hit me up. I'll see you guys later.